Sure. I'm Vishnu Vasudevan. I'm based out of Phoenix, and I've been with the DevOps industry for quite some time now. God knows, like maybe 2010, I started my cloud journey, and from then on, 2012, 2013, I got into the DevOps, and it was all new, and like we were trying to automate the build, deploy, and piece of it. Now here we are, everything has become now just like continuous integration, continuous deployment. It is continuous testing, continuous security. So it's a quite exciting journey for me. And prior to Opsera, I've been working with the financial industries, just managing and building the private cloud and DevOps practices. And today, I'm here with Opsera. I head the product, building the no-code orchestration platform, not just for the SDLC, but we are also building across SaaS, COTS-based application infrastructure as a code, and even the machine learning piece of it.
Exciting. And so we just recently worked with Opsera on the DZone trend report for CI/CD. We also just did a crowd chat this week. So we had Daniel Story who worked on that stuff. And then you also have a webinar coming up on July 27th. So if you want to talk a little bit about our trend report and the crowd chat and your event going on the 27th, I think our audience would love to hear about those.
Like looking at the report was exhaustive and it had like so much of data, like proving like where the market is trending towards the CI/CD with the growing cloud approach, and also the lot of tools coming into the market. It is becoming a crowded market right now, and also like getting complex for the engineers and for the executives to choose the right tools for their application platform and needs. So we did a crowd chat this week, and we had like very good reception on that. Like basically we had around like 88 89K like viewing came in like 30 minutes, and that shows like where people are looking into it with respect to the code delivery. And in the webinar we're going to talk detailed about like the CI/CD trends, and how important the orchestration platform needs to be and how robust it's going to be. And it's going to be an exciting webinar. Like people across the globe, I would request them to join the webinar and get some insights, and like we would like to learn from people as well as part of the webinar as well.
One of the things we're talking about with CI/CD, we've got so many teams remote these days, and we were just talking before we went live just about execution and just kind of how important that is for CI/CD. So I was just going to quickly get your thoughts on that.
Right. So even before pandemic, there was problem, but like when the pandemic hit, like nobody was expecting that. Like, so the team was not prepared for it. And what happened was like teams started working on silos, and that has created a lot of confusion with respect to the application deliverables, because like you have a lot of upstream application, downstream application, and each and every one follow different process. Some application still follows the waterfall model, some follow agile. And I have seen, or like I have heard like from a lot of people, there's a lot of finger pointing started happening, right? Like when the delivery is not happening, and with the pandemic stress and everything going around. So there needs to be one orchestration platform, and also like you need to make sure the engineers needs to be empowered, and they need to have the flexibility to choose the right tools, just to make sure they are having a shift left approach towards the CI/CD, like where they need to make sure the security and quality is taken care even before the code is sent to production. And there's also a lot of bottlenecks that got into it, right? In terms of the code review, how many people are like really doing the code review? And you basically like covered that particular topic in the CI/CD trend really well, because like a lot of people, they do it for the namesake, but how many people doing it 100% just to make sure that code does not have any vulnerabilities, right? And now security has become a priority for everybody because of the cloud approach. And where DevOps is now is basically like that's where the cloud was like 5 years before. Yeah, there's a huge adoption going around, and in order to make that happen, we need to make sure the engineers gets the flexibility to choose the right choice based on their application stacks, or not because of someone is choosing the tools and they are enforced to use the tool. So that's something like they need to focus on it. That will help them basically reduce the finger pointing, and also like using a no-code orchestration platform which can orchestrate not just the tool chain but also your pipelines across different segments, like the SDLC, the SaaS-based application COTS, the infrastructure as a code, and then like you have the data pipelines. So if everything can be under one orchestration platform, and also you get observability where you can correlate and contextualize, so like the finger pointing gets reduced, you save a lot of time in terms of the identifying the issues and then reducing the MTTR, that's going to be huge. And that's a trend I think I'm going to see in next 2-3 years.
Excellent. That's very good. That's very good. And we were going to have Daniel Story come up and join us. So Daniel also, just off those comic on there, said Daniel is also part of the trend report. Did a really great comic on there. So definitely, if you go to the link where we shared this and check it out, he's got a really great comic. So check that out. Don't see Daniel on here. Let me throw it over to Alariza. Alariza, I will throw you up on the stage with Vishnu since Daniel is not here. So Alariza is also like really big with our CI/CD. So any questions you have for Vishnu? Putting you live on the spot.
Hi. No, I don't have any question, but I think that was a great opportunity because the people involved on this trend report, one of the interesting thing about them is the fact that they are not only writing about this, they are the people are heavily involved in different projects. So they have a hands-on experience. So what they actually wrote, it's exactly about what they have done. So it's coming from the real experience. And I think definitely that was one of the interesting trend report I think we have had on DZone, except the fact that I also wrote in that part. I'm just talking about others, but I think that's quite interesting because we covered a lot of different areas from the CI/CD pipeline for the projects, different technologies, even one research-based article. And also from my part, I actually did something regarding the infrastructure as a code, because that's a kind of new member of the CI/CD pipeline in the last couple of years. In the past, we had the physical hardware for the infrastructure, and nowadays it became virtual, and we can write a code and turn it to the infrastructure. So I think in general, that was a nice collaboration and experience. And thanks to Opsera to provide this opportunity for all of us to bring this for people.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Alariza. And we were going to have Daniel. Daniel's on a beach in Brazil right now with his Wi-Fi is not working as good. But luckily, we've got Alariza out of the Netherlands, who also worked on that trend report. And then just to close out on this today, and thanks so much, Vishnu, for joining us. If you want to, I believe, Alariza, you're going to be on their webinar on the 27th. If you want to tell people a little bit about that coming up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think in the webinar, I still don't know the plan for the webinar, but definitely I think it's going to be interesting event in which we can share our experience with people and also maybe get some feedback. I'm really interested to get feedback. I think that's definitely would be useful for us to see if we really help some people and if there is something we still can do for the next trend report or next articles we are writing.
Awesome. And Vishnu, on your side, anything to add to that for the webinar on the 27th?
Yeah, as Alireza mentioned, like we're looking forward to the webinar because we're going to share the experience being in the market and also like understanding the pain points. It's going to be very, very critical for us to make sure that like we are getting the continuous feedback while we're creating these trends and see like how we can continuously improve the CI/CD process and also the DevOps ecosystem across the industry.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. We'll be sure on the DZone Live article and on the content on YouTube and other places to put a link for the webinar once that goes live, where you'll be able to register for that. So just book your calendars now for July 27th of this month. So Vishnu, any parting thoughts that you want to give? And thanks so much for joining and being our featured guest.
Thank you so much, Blake, for the opportunity, and like thanks again for your CI/CD trend report. And I think like now it has become an eye opener for a lot of people. Like they were thinking like they have a very good CI/CD ecosystem, but after the report, they're gonna like go revisit the entire ecosystem, and I hope like it's going to help them mature over the process over the time. And thanks, Alireza, for like contributing on that. Like it's an exhaustion. I love it.